Hello, welcome to الكرامة news channel. It is 9 p.m. our time for top stories, and now we start with latest developments in Libya. Two shells fell during yesterday demonstrations in Al-Qaysha Square in Benghazi, while demonstrators protest against the government proposal introduced by UN envoy to Libya Bernardino Leon. The demonstrators said that the shells near Al-Saha did not result in any damage or casualties, stressing that they pushed the protesters to express their determination and continue demonstrations that reject what they described as a way of intimidation and terrorism. In another developments, dozens of people demonstrated in Martyrs Square or Shuhada Squares in Tripoli to express their rejections of a proposed national unity government, launching several slogans refusing the guardianship government, demanding a Libyan dialogue. Demonstrators expressed the rejection of what they called hegemony and guardianship and occupation in all its forms, demanding a commitment to what they described as provisions of Islamic law that is considered as a source of legislation. Al-Square of Abu Bakr Siddiq Mosque witnessed demonstrations condemning and denouncing the government proposal announced by UN envoy to Libya Bernardino Leon last week. Al-Marj people condemned the choices of the UN envoy that includes a group of terrorist supporters. They also issued a statement in which they refused Leon government that include brotherhood elements and leaders of terrorist militias. Moreover, they expressed the rejection of all dialogue mechanisms with those who sold the homeland and prevented them from participating in the country's building. Benghazi Parliament member Ahmed Shayhoub condemned indiscriminate shelling the targeting demonstrators in Al-Qaysha Square. Shayhoub denounced the targeting of civilians by indiscriminate shells and actions that they described as heinous acts committed by terrorist groups. He also stressed that those who carried out these terrorist acts are not following ethics and values of Islam. Benghazi Parliament member declared in an official statement following yesterday's demonstrations their absolute compliance with legitimate demands of the voters. The statement also denounced the targeting of peaceful demonstrations that reject Leon government by terrorist bombing that also targeted civilians in Al-Qaysha Square in Benghazi. The Parliament members blamed the United Nations and its envoy to Libya, Bernardino Leon, for suffering experienced by the civilians. Parliament member Speaker Aguila Saleh Guider stressed in a statement to الكرامة channel that Libya will not accept any pressure from any party on the people alone who have the right to pressure, including free will, self-determination and decision-making. In a statement to الكرامة channel, Council Aguila Saleh Guider stressed the Parliament's commitment to independence of Libya, the unity of its territory, as well as the dignity of its people. He also stressed the need for guarantees on the independence of the military institution and then the commitment to dialogue according to what was actually agreed upon and signed by all parties. Benghazi Parliament member Ibrahim Darsi called for providing a clear commitment not to target the General Command of Arab Libyan Armed Forces led by General Khalifa Haftar. Darsi stressed that General Command is a red line, accusing Misrata City of supporting the murders in Benghazi. For his part, Chairman of Benghazi Crisis, Abdel Nabi Rabihi, announced his full rejection of the National Unity Government, stressing his commitment for legitimacy embodied by Parliament and the Arab Libyan Armed Forces. Human rights activist Alia El Abaidi said that the UN envoy to Libya Bernardino Leon intentionally chose the wrong path in order to reach wrong results, then deepen the Libyan crisis as well as for the conflict to break at the Libyan state. El Abaidi noted that the people of Libya will not be deceived by tricks of Leon and the international community, noting that a solution will be Libyan away from any external interference. El Abaidi added that recent statement released by Leon is an extreme insult to the Libyan people. And now we transfer to the Arab arena, and now we speak about the elections in Egypt. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi today called on the nation to take to the polls and vote for parliamentary candidates. Egyptians abroad began voting today while domestic polls will open tomorrow. Al-Sisi said in a televised speech today, I, and in indirect form, call on all Egyptians to go to polling stations and to strongly assemble to achieve our last demand that we have agreed on. I call on all of you, men and women, young and elderly, farmers and workers from across the country, assemble for the sake of the country and celebrate choosing your representatives and choose Wallah. In June 2012, a court dissolved the main chamber of parliament, reversing a major accomplishment of uprising that ended President Hosni Mubarak's 30-year rule and ignited hopes of political and economic change. Parliamentary elections now set to take place in 2 rounds on October 17 and 19 and November 21 and 23 are the final steps in the roadmap. The new parliament will comprise 568 members, 448 elected on an individual basis, and 120 through winner-takes-all lists. And now we transfer to Iraq. Iraqi forces backed by Shiite militia fighters continue their push today into the northern part of the province of Salahuddin on the 4th day of a major offensive aimed at removing terrorist Daesh militants from the province. Counter-terrorism forces and volunteer militia fighters recaptured the presidential complex of former President Saddam Hussein in Mahul Mountain, just north of the key oil town of Beji. Footage shows the Iraqi counter-terrorism forces of fighters of Shiite Hashd Shab or popular mobilization deployed in and around the buildings of the presidential site. Leader of Shiite militia of Badr Brigade said today we have achieved a big victory represented by the recapture of the presidential palaces complex. The leader said government forces and militias are in full control of the vast energy complex and are now cleaning up some pockets of resistance. And finally, we will transfer to the migrants crisis, and especially in Turkey. The Turkish Coast Guard said today that 12 migrants thought to be from Syria and Afghanistan, including 4 children and a baby, drowned off the coast of Turkey as they tried to reach the Greek island of Lesbos. Bodies covered by plastic sheeting were brought ashore in a Coast Guard vessel near the Turkish town of Avekeni, a few kilometers from the Greek island of Lesbos. A Coast Guard official said 23 people had been rescued, some by a Turkish fishing boat. Thousands of refugees, mostly from Syria, Afghanistan and Iraq, make daily attempts to cross the Aegean Sea from nearby Turkey, a short but perilous trip by boat, often in rough seas. Almost 400,000 people have arrived in Greece this year, according to the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, overwhelming the crisis striking government ability to cope with. European Union leaders agreed this week to offer Turkey cash, easier visa terms and energized consideration of its EU membership bid in an effort to secure cooperation in encouraging Syrian refugees not to head to Europe and deterring economic migrants from Asia. My audience, that is the wrap-up of our top stories for today. For much more, you can check our website www.الكرامة.tv. Thanks very much for being with us. My greeting, رانيا البليدي.
اسمعوهم
تحاور في المحور.